Role of compliance in workplace injuries. Why do you say that complacency is the silent killer?
Well, because quite often with violent crime, you've got the gunshots, you've got the screaming, you've got the yelling. With complacency, quite often it's sort of just the opposite. It's a blue sky day. You can almost kind of hear the birds chirping and singing. Nobody's really worried about anything. It's just all of a sudden, bam.
Life comes at you fast.
Complacency leading to mind not on task or mind not on risk. When you know what you're doing and you know what the risk is, but you're not thinking about it at all, like that's everywhere.
Life comes at you fast.
You obviously need a person, and you need something unexpected happening. But if you think about the complacency thing in the fire, it's like the oxygen, it's everywhere. You got people working at your company for 5, 10, 15 years. The likelihood that they're scared of the hazards anymore is about the same as the likelihood that you're scared of driving.
How can employers make sure their employees aren't becoming too complacent?
First of all, is the signs and the slogans and the posters. Just recognize if that worked. But if you're not thinking about what you're doing, complacency leading to mind not on task, then we're going to need to get people to put some effort into improving their safety-related habits. Like moving your eyes before you move your hands, your feet, your body. A refresher training isn't carbon copy of the initial training, because that might actually make people more, show them the same WMIS video, that might actually make people more complacent about handling chemicals, reading labels and material safety data sheets than if you showed them something new which got them thinking a bit more. Or if they already know about the stuff, maybe now show them a videotape of somebody who had a wicked chemical burn, and maybe that might help fight the complacency for a while.
Let's take a quick look at a simplified depiction of mental functioning, a blueprint of how our minds work at a task, including input, filtering, and function.
First, there are many competing inputs: noise, lighting, distractions, sounds, other people, information, smells, temperature, and so on. These inputs are things that are in our immediate environment. We know them through our senses.
Next is how we attempt to filter all those inputs so that we use only the information we need to achieve our desired task. This filter is our attention, and it has two interactive parts. One is our conscious workspace, the here and now, where we break down selected data. The conscious workspace can cause us to take direct actions, moving our hands and feet, directing our eyes, or perhaps prompting us to speak.
But the conscious workspace also has constant back and forth interaction with our long-term memory, or knowledge base. This is where we have stored all our past experiences, and some of them may relate to or inform the current conscious workspace.
An important difference between the conscious workspace and long-term memory is that the capacity of the conscious workspace is severely limited. When you look up a phone number and keep it in mind until you dial it, you're using the conscious workspace. But the conscious workspace has a time span of less than 2 seconds
1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi.
before it needs to be refreshed as new bits of information or thoughts displace older items of information. Think of it as a leaky bucket. A leaky bucket. A leaky bucket.
Don't worry about it. I get it.
Yes, safety-related incidents happen to experienced workers, in spite of their expertise. In fact, their experience can sometimes be a contributing factor to incidents. Experienced workers often become complacent and even neglectful when they rely on their habits or expertise alone. They stop thinking about what they're doing and fail to see potential hazards around them, some that could mean the difference between life and death. Of course, hazards are easy to spot when you're looking for them, but sometimes we're so focused on the task at hand, we don't notice them. Hand injuries in the maritime workplace are common and can happen almost anywhere on board a ship, on the deck, in the engine room, and even in the accommodations and galley. The types of hand injuries can be broken down into 4 general categories: crushing injuries, contact injuries including temperature and chemical burns, cuts and lacerations, repetitive motion injuries.
In the maritime industry, there's always a risk involved in crushing activities, especially if you're handling lines and such. If you get in between the line and a cleat or a bit or something like that, and tension actually switched onto the boat or the barge, you can get your hand in between the eye of the line and a bit, and that can cause a devastating crushing injury.
Hands can get crushed in moving parts on mooring winches and drums. When spooling line during retrieval, stay back to avoid having your hands sucked into the drums. Hatches and door jambs and any other pinch points should always be approached with care. Follow proper safety practices for gangway and pilot ladder rigging. Stay alert around fan belts, right angle drives, and rotating engine room machinery, all of which may present the risk of crushing injuries. Remove any watches, bracelets, or rings when working with automated or rotating machinery. Contact injuries, including heat and chemical burns, happen most frequently in the engine room or galley. Exercise caution when performing welding and other hot work, or when exposed to chemicals. Refer to a chemicals warning labels and safety data sheets for handling information. Hand injuries may be caused by leaks from hot steam pipes and fuel lines or hot oil in machinery. Exercise caution when working with hot foods in and around ovens and ranges, or with boiling liquids or splattering oils. You should always be on the lookout for any sharp objects, whether exposed sheet metals, nails and splinters, or broken glass, all of which can cause cuts and lacerations.
Good idea here. All right, mate. These 2 blokes are workplace safety inspectors. They say they want to have a chat. All right, guys, he's here. This is our foreman.
Morning.
How you going?
Just doing a routine inspection.
Yeah, I can see that.
What are you building here?
A building, mate.
Yeah, what type of building?
One to put stuff in.
Right. We've got a few concerns about your building site.
Oh, yeah, really? We'll fire away. Boss, we've got nothing to hide, do we? Nothing to hide here. Nothing to hide.
OK, well, let's start with the most obvious. Most building sites will have a sign out the front that says no entry, authorised persons only.
Yep.
Your sign says construction site, safety is for sissies.
Oh, boys. I said this is for the Christmas party, guys. I'll just give that back to you then.
What do you think I'm noticing over here?
Well, that bloke not doing a lot of work. Paying him. Get back to it, seriously.
There is no safety barrier? Now,
No.
What happens if I just step off the edge?
Mate, you're knackered if you do that.
And this gentleman here.
Yeah, Trev.
Could you please point to one piece of protective clothing he's wearing?
Oh, God, look at this.
Personal protective equipment does not reduce the hazard, but only provides a barrier against it. The effectiveness of the barrier is lost if the personal protective equipment is used incorrectly or is of the wrong kind.
What's that? Look at that. because if it ever gets sunny indoors, he's ready to go. No UV.
He's supposed to be wearing steel-cap boots.
Iron legs. A few years ago, Trev had an accident. Lost both his legs, and they're made of iron ones replacement.
Well, what do you call these?
Legs. That's why.
Yeah, but the boots on the bottom, mate, they're made of rubber. I mean, what's he going to do if a brick lands on it?
Yeah, but what happens if a beach lands on it? He's going to be prepared. You're always thinking about, you know, the obvious stuff. What about, like, you know, if he's around a pool?
The Dirty Dozen. 12 factors seen as the greatest contributors to human error.
In the maritime industry.
It's important to know the dirty dozen, know how to recognize the symptoms, and know the safety nets always to avoid or contain errors spawned by the dirty dozen.
The Dirty Dozen is typically realized when an out-of-balance condition exists. There's either too much or not enough of a thing, like too much pressure or too much stress, but not enough communication and not enough resources.
I'm going to make this simple on you. Point to one thing that shows that you're taking workplace safety seriously.
Yeah, we've got a safety officer.
Hello there. My name is Dr. Albert, and I specialize in workplace safety. Now, everywhere I go, people tend to agree that safety is no laughing matter. But what if I told you that there was a way to give your employees proper safety training while keeping them entertained and interested at the same time? Sound too good to be true? In the science of safety, we believe there are two basic ways to perform a task: the wrong way and the right way. When you perform a task the wrong way, it is dangerous, unprofessional, and can be life-threatening. But if you perform a task the right way in the workplace, it is efficient, safe, and meets with industry standards. That's why wrong way, right way takes both sides of all these safety issues into account.
Forklift blindfold challenge.
For each of these important training points, there is a short comedic wrong way sketch.
Look, there's no wet floor sign.
Showing how wrong you can go by not following the proper safety procedures.
So what's the answer?
Wrong. Each of the training points also has an informative right way section that follows industry standards and teaches workers how to go about their daily tasks safely and professionally.
Head protection found.
Whoa, 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 whoa. You know, we actually just learned some safe lifting tips on how to avoid injury. Let me show you. First, you want to take a balanced stance, feet shoulder width apart. Grip the object with your whole hand, not just your fingers. Draw the object close to you, holding your elbows close to your body to keep the load and your body weight centered. Lift by straightening your legs. You have to let your legs, not your back, do the work. Maintain your neutral back position as you lift, and never twist at the waist when you're lifting.
You know, being alert to hazards and protecting ourselves by wearing the right PPE may not be new concepts, but they are definitely the wave of the future.
Right. Wrong way, right way safety cases inform, entertain, and make sure that your employees truly understand the importance of safety in the workplace. Wrong way, right way.